Alright, let's jump straight into this. For context, I'm a professional portrait photographer and a small business owner operating my portrait studio. I personally specialize in photographing the everyday woman and do that by creating an experience-focused service and creating a space for them to feel confident and comfortable in their own skin. This is my career, and I was even fortunate enough to be able to provide a full-time position to a recent graduate this year. Now, to the real talk. For me and my development as a photographer and a business owner, there are two elements that are integral and still are to my growth, and that is mentorship and community. Now I'm going to go over why mentorship and community are so important for growth for any creatives that want to take their creative passion and turn it into a career. Real quick though, a quick disclaimer. By no means me talking about turning your creative passion into a career mean everyone has to do that with their passion. I fully believe this isn't for everyone, and for a lot of people out there, they would rather keep their hobbies and passion as just what it is and leave it apart from their job and career. However, I will say, try it with the right mindset. Now, back to the video. So first, I'm gonna break down mentorship and community. What do they really mean? And why were they so important for me, and why it would be important for you? Secondly, I'll walk you through my timeline as a college student, how I found both mentorship and community, and how you can find it, whether it's for photography or design or any other creative passion. Finally, I'll wrap it up by answering some questions that my Instagram followers asked me around the topic of creative passion into career, and some final remarks. Mentorship. What is mentorship in the modern day? So I don't know about you, but 8 years ago when I was just getting into photography, when I thought of mentorship, I thought of like blacksmiths, like teaching another younger folk how to blacksmith. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like lots of people might share that kind of vision when they think of mentorship. You know, training like crazy on the daily, Monday to Sunday, and then living under the mentor's roof, doing their chores and gaining all their wisdom and soaking it up as much as you can. To an extent, I actually really wanted that. It felt like being Robin to a Batman figure. I remember also reaching out to a lot of really successful photographers and asking them for some sort of apprenticeship or mentorship. And no, I never got to fulfill my dream of being Robin to a Batman, but I think it was for the better because modern mentorship provides better solutions. So mentorship in the modern day, what's different? It's even cooler because we have multiple mentors, and do you know why? The internet. You guys, there's so much amazing information, a wealth of information on the internet. You want to learn how to use a camera, it's there, free or paid. You want to learn how to pose, it's there, free or paid. You want to learn how to run a small business, it's there whether you pay or watch for free. All right, honestly, you might be getting overwhelmed by the wealth of information out there. You might be wondering, okay, do I go for the free educational content or the paid educational content? And the difference is the context. WikiHow telling you how to run a small business is gonna be very different from a world-renowned photographer telling you that same exact information. And here's the beautiful thing, you guys, we're in the era of information sharing. There are so many incredible industry leaders out there teaching courses, teaching online courses on how they got started, how you can further your craft, how you can create an income around your creative passion. It might be free, it might be a low monthly subscription, or it might be a higher one-time fee. Would you like to A, learn from a world-class photographer for a low fee of $30, that's 6 cups of coffee, or maybe a one-time payment of $200 to $1,000? Or B, pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn from some art professor whose art style you don't even like, respect, or really care for, and who also probably never had any experience turning their creative passion into a career, which is why they're at this college teaching, getting that sweet security money from this institution. Look, this professor is still gonna do a decent job at teaching the basic stuff, but why pay that much more when you can be paying a fraction to world-renowned photographers who are actually doing things out there successfully and constantly learning modern techniques, especially in photography when it's so closely tied to technology? Why would you choose to pay that much and go into depth to learn from some professor who's just regurgitating old information? Hey, old information. Community. So community is the second integral part to growth and turning your creative passion into a career. And let me start you off with a quote. You are the average of the 5 closest people around you. I love that quote and I use that all the time. And it's just so true, it's so applicable to me. and to a lot of people. Think of it this way, if you only hang around toxic people who gossip behind people's backs and their friends' backs, that's what you're gonna start doing yourself. That's how you're gonna start thinking. That's gonna become your mindset. You're gonna start being a toxic person. Similarly, if you start hanging around college students and all you talk about is being stressed from workload, not having enough time, asking for sympathy for not being able to chase their real passion because of their parents, charging $50 for college grad shoes, being broke but going to Ariana Grande concerts and having the latest iPhones, getting overly excited about materialistic things like expensive camera lenses and how they're never going to be able to afford it. If again, that's all you're talking about, that's what your mindset is going to be, and it's not gonna help you be able to turn your creative passion into a career. I remember wanting to up my price a little bit in my college days and asking my college peers, hey, do you guys think my clients would pay $100 for this? And they would say, no, that's too expensive. I would only pay $50 for that. Here's the thing, you guys. Please never ask your friends or family about pricing your work or anything to do with your business. And that's because they're not your clients. When I was in the college bubble and thinking like a typical 20-year-old college student, I had the narrowest vision. I would be happy. I was more than happy to earn $50 for a 4-hour shoot just so I can buy some extra In-N-Out meals during the weekend. Now, contrary to that, everything changed where I went to a photography conference in St. Louis for the first time. Guys, so all of a sudden go from kids talking about being stressed, not having enough time, not having enough money, to all of a sudden being surrounded by real photographers with real ambitions more so than having In-N-Outs for the weekend. It is incredible. I was surrounded by photographers that either A, were believing in themselves and actively working on making their creative passion of photography into a career, like me, or B, already successful photographers that were still out there just to keep getting better and educating themselves. My mind went from forever thinking this was gonna be a side In-N-Out hustle kind of thing to holy crap, this is actually possible. I don't have to graduate and go to a 9-to-5 job. I can actually control my life and have my dream job. So many of these photographers that I met at the conference stayed connected with me and went out of their way to teach me and mentor me in their own rights. Just because I'm in front of the camera all the time might make me seem like an extrovert, and you might say, David, I'm an introvert, I can't get connected to people. Guys, I was the shyest guy back then. So if I could do it, you can always approach a person and say, I have these questions for you. It is possible for you. But going back to connecting with these photographers that were going out of their way to help me, I'm talking full-on Skype sessions with their screen shares, teaching me how to do Photoshop live. Full-on big mama bear moments, telling me I'm worth 20 times more than what I'm currently charging. So please tell me, what would college do for you? So to recap, you can see mentorship as the actual education, and you can see the community as the mindset and your heart. And here's the thing, I get asked all the time, what happens when you're not motivated? If you're surrounded in the right community, these people are gonna be always providing you with inspiration and motivation. So now to the second part of this video, which is a timeline of me going from just starting with photography and becoming a full-time business owner and a professional photographer. So I started my photography journey in my junior year of high school, and at that point, I learned everything from YouTube. I soaked everything up like a sponge, everything I could. How to use the camera, how to use different softwares to process the camera images, and just different techniques to get me started on my hobby and passion. I continued doing so in college until I came across Creative Live. Creative Live, like many online video-based educational platforms nowadays, was a way to connect successful photographers to educate beginner photographers like me. The cool thing about Creative Live, like the name mentions, the classes were free during their live broadcast with the option to purchase the class to watch at your own pace. So guess what 21-year-old David did? He skipped all his morning classes in college to watch these free courses taught by world-renowned successful photographers who are actually running successful businesses out there. Through that, I found the liking of one photographer and an educator named Sal Sankata, who was teaching a lot of wedding photography back then. And as I was watching more of his content and educational videos, he was heavily promoting one of his newer photography conferences called Shutterfest, which is the St. Louis conference that I talked about earlier on. It was a tough decision to make as a 20-year-old international student all the way from Korea who's never seen outside of Davis, California. I haven't even seen much of California, and then to go to St. Louis by myself as a 20-year-old boy seemed like a lot, but we took the bold step. And like I said earlier on, my mind was blown. It just opens your eyes when you're surrounded by new people with ambitions and optimism and who are also taking bold steps. So with that ambitious mindset, I tried to take on wedding photography with Sal and Kata, but it just didn't work out for me. But luckily, I found my next mentor, Sue Bryce. Sue has taught me so much. And one of the biggest things was how to deal with the emotional ride of starting a small business owner. Because as creatives, we are very emotional beings, and I felt like no other educators were tackling that topic. All the fear and self-doubt, Sue talked me through how she dealt with it, how she overcame it, and how that could be a reality for me. She taught me the importance of the business side and separating that from the craft, how to start a business, how to market myself, all the framework, and then also, of course, the craft part, how to pose my clients, how to work with clients, and it was just phenomenal. And the really cool thing, you guys, is that with most of these educators, they already have an existing community built. Most of the times through Facebook that are really, really active with other photographers and other creative beings like you that are ambitious. They might be at different steps, which is really cool. You can ask sort of the next person up, hey, how did you do this? And there's people always asking different levels of questions that you can always learn from. So here are some active steps that you can take today to take your creative passion and turn it into a career and start working on this today, people. Whatever your creative passion is, whether that's photography, dancing, baking, marketing, sewing, interior design, coffee design, this is all for you. First, look at Creative Live or Skillshare or these big education platforms and search your creative passion and see what comes up and take those classes if it interests you. Pay for it, $10, save 1 cup of coffee and use it for yourself, invest in yourself. Then find the educators that you really vibe with, that you really like, and search them. Search them on Google and see if they provide other types of education that are more tied to themselves. Lastly, Google conferences in your creative passion field. I swear to have a conference for literally everything around the world, around the US. Obviously, during the pandemic, we can't go to these, but a lot of these conferences held online conferences, and obviously, they're not gonna be the same. But it's still better than sitting at home and just saying, you know what, screw it, my passion isn't going anywhere. So get on Google. Google is your best friend, you guys. Get on Google, search for conferences, and a lot of the times, there are big name ones that get brought up. For photography, it might be WPPI. I've never been to that one, but that's a really huge one. Sue Bryce has her own photography conference with so many great reviews. Shutterfest. All right, so that is my TED Talk, and let's go into some Q&As, and we'll finish off with that. So the first question is from It's Bri Gonzalez. How to stop comparing yourself to more successful, parentheses, by industry standard, peers. Comparing is, so toxic. First, we have to also define what is success. Many times, we're looking at these digital profiles, these online social media presence, and then saying to ourselves, oh my gosh, they look like they're doing really well. You guys have no idea how many times my peers thought I was doing really well just because I was posting a little bit more on social media when I was just like barely getting by. And then secondly, this is so important. This is so important. You have to start placing value in you as a person and as a brand and as a business, and not just as an artist or your creative passion. When I placed all of my value on being a photographer, I felt like I was competing against every single other photographer out there, whether they were using their phone or like a $1 billion camera, right? Left and right, I was looking, who's a photographer? Let me check out their work. Ooh, they're not that great, but why are they charging so much? It was such a toxic place to be, and that's because you get defensive if all your value is in yourself as an artist. Place that value in yourself. You have so much more to offer. That is how you stop comparing yourself. You have to know that you have so much more to provide in value than just your art. So stop comparing yourself to these people. Sonia asks, how to convince your parents that it's possible to still be successful with this career. So the biggest thing here is to confront your parents, and we have to know that our parents are there for our best interest. The only thing is they want us to be successful in the only way they know, which might be a little bit more traditional. Go to college. And back then, college was a lot more valuable. If you went to a good college, you can really just use that resume and that's all you really needed. But nowadays, everyone is going to college. So I think the biggest thing is letting them know that you understand that they want you to be at a successful place, right? And here's the thing, here's two ways you can go about this. You can either follow in your parents' dreams and just put your head down and be sad, never know what would have happened if you chased your passion, and you just keep doing this until you're 40, you're married, you have kids, and you just hate your life, and then you say, wow, this bottled up feeling of negativity is now coming up and I don't like my parents. You can either choose that path or choose this path now and say, parents, this really means a lot to me. I want to try this. And if they still don't listen, you just have to make the hard decision. You can't straddle the middle. You just have to try it. Why not try it now? Like, what job is going to not accept you when you're 30? You do it for yourself. If you so believe in it, try it for yourself. And if it doesn't work out, you come back to them and say, you know what, at least I've tried it. Now I can happily go into this 9-to-5 direction that you've always wanted me to. And alternatively, if it does work out, then everyone's happy. So Camille the Sweetest asks, how do you choose which creative passion to go after career-wise? Someone asked in my TikTok live, David, how do you get the motivation to keep chasing after your passion? And if you're asking yourself the question, that's probably a good hint that that might not be the right direction for you. And here's the thing, here's the honest truth. Doing this is not easy. I mean, doing anything for yourself in the world typically just isn't easy. If you're tackling fear, if you're tackling self-improvement, it shouldn't be easy. But what makes it more palatable is your insane amount of passion for it. Just because I have passion for it doesn't mean I don't have the fear that comes along with it. Your passion is gonna kick you in the butt and say, get up, we're gonna do this today. If you don't have that, if you dread it and you have to go through sheer motivation to get yourself to do that, that probably isn't the right direction for you. So find a passion that you just absolutely love. Listen to your heart and see what is your calling. So Steffi Cupcakes, sorry, I'm having cheesecake. Steffi Cupcakes asks, video editing is my passion. How do I earn from that though? We need to stop thinking of our value, again, as I was saying earlier on, as just our craft. Video editing is just a little tiny tool that we have. Steph, I want you to think about who is gonna find most value out of your video editing skill. You need to think of a specific person. Let's say me. I hate YouTube editing. I'm gonna say it, it's the truth. It is very tedious for me. By the way, you have to find this out for yourself, right? David's a rising TikTok sort of star, and he wants to move into YouTube. He wants to create more educational and entertaining content, long-form content for his audience. He wants to do this so that he can grow his brand. He wants to be able to provide education in ways that he can't on TikTok, because TikTok is short-form content and he wants to do more long-form content. My pain point is that I don't want to sit in front of my computer any longer than I already am and spend 3 to 6 hours, multiple days, to put together this quality piece of YouTube content. It tires me out, it burns me out. Let's say you are equipped with that information that you have to, again, find out for yourself. You have to ask yourself, what does that mean for David if I could take all of that away? I'm gonna give you a couple seconds. What do you think that would mean to me? You're buying me 3 to 6 hours of time. You're allowing me to play with Maya more. You're allowing me to do more work with my clients. So what's the value of that? I need you guys to be able to think of all of this in here and then think, reverse engineer this. Not the other way around where, okay, I am a video editor. Who do I go to? Who needs video editing? Anyone? Just, oh, this company over here, this small company, okay, yeah, like, oh, you want me to do it for free? I guess I'll do it for exposure. All right, this cookie company, $100, you know, I need to make rent here. You cannot do that. Reverse engineer. See who has a very specific problem that you can help solve, and what does that mean to them? how will their life change if you enter their lives? That is a question you should be answering. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm talking with my mouth full. I am exhausted. I don't have a cup of water with me, so I'm bad idea. But I was really feeling passionate about this topic. Hope that I was able to help you at least get started. And if you have more questions, maybe I'll do a follow-up Q&A to this. So please do leave your questions in the comment section, and I would love to help you out. This is a very passionate topic for me. Let me know what you thought of this whole talk. Happy career development and passion development. Thank you guys.